Welcome to Game Crunch, your weekly video game podcast. My name's Mike Anastasia. With me today, we have Nick.
Hey.
And Brandon.
Hey.
And Dave. Back
Hi.
after a hiatus. Yeah, hello.
Indeed. Yeah, it's been like, what, 2 years? 3 years? I can't even remember.
I think it's been 2 years.
Yeah, last time we were talking, I was going to go to Korea. Now I'm back from Korea.
Yeah, it all blends together with the pandemic.
glad to be back on the show, and glad the show's still going, so I can't wait to talk about video games.
Yeah, we're definitely happy to have you back. And you just got back from a convention, too, which is exciting.
That's right. Yeah, Too Many Games out in Oaks, Pennsylvania. I actually went to the wrong convention center because I thought, okay, well, it said I was scanning the ticket, and it was like, the Pennsylvania Convention Center, and I was like, okay, so I went to the Pennsylvania Convention Center, which is in Pennsylvania, Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, right?
Oh,
and
no.
so it wasn't that one; it was the Greater Philadelphia Convention Center. So I went to the wrong convention. I had to drive 45 minutes away. I was like, I missed a little bit of the first part of the day, but it's okay. I got to see what I wanted to see, which was the AVGN, Angry Video Game Nerd. I got to see Charles Martinet. I got to see Scott DeWaz and just, play a few cool indie games. It's nothing like E3 if you've ever been. It's not like you're bringing like the big industry heavy hitters out there. It's basically just a bunch of people who are trying to sell their old video game like machines and cartridges and whatnot, where you can buy a lot of. It's like kind of like a swap meet or like what do you call it, a flea market. It's just games focused, which is fine, which is great. It's neat to see all those kind of old games you used to play and love. And if you're looking for classic games, it's the place to go, or sell your games. But still an awesome event. Glad that I went. Have any of you been to Too Many Games?
I have not.
I have been to a few, actually. I mentioned, we were talking briefly before the show. I live literally right like 45 minutes. Where you drove from the Philly Convention Center is right around where I live. So like that 45-minute drive is pretty much how far I am to Too Many Games. So I've been to a handful of them. I don't always go to them because it's literally just that. Like I stopped collecting a few years ago because I had, quote unquote, in my mind, finished my collection. But like as far as like it goes for like a swap meet, that kind of a thing, and to meet any sort of favorite YouTuber, it's definitely a fun time.
Yeah, no, absolutely. You were saying earlier that it's like a day convention, right? Like a one-day
thing.
thing.
Yeah, I would never get, because like I go to a few different conventions in the normal times, and typically I would get, for like a bigger convention, I would get like a hotel room or something.
Right.
But Too Many Games you can pretty much do in the inside of a day, and like even if I had like, let's say like I bought like a weekend pass, I live close enough that I'd be like, well, I'll just drive back and forth. That's no big deal.
Right. That's kind of what I did. I was driving up from Maryland, actually, it's about 2.5-2-ish hour drive. And it's not too bad. I did consider staying overnight, but in the end, like you said, I saw everything I wanted to see in a day, and I had no reason to go back there on that following Sunday. It's just more of the same. Friday I work, so I couldn't have gone up Friday anyway. So yeah, totally. It's a great one-day event. My favorite thing out of it, though, was getting to see Rex Viper. Anybody familiar with Rex Viper?
I'm not.
I am a little bit.
Well, I'll explain it for those who may not be. So Rex Viper is a band that was, as far as I can tell, created or kind of pushed forward, sort of happening by James Rolfe, who is, of course, the Angry Video Game Nerd. Basically, James wanted to be in a band, right? He had this sort of, whatever you want to call it, midlife crisis, or, he just wanted to do a band, right? He'd always want to do it. He learned how to play the guitar. And so he got with Screenwave Media, who owns, or he is basically the multi-channel network for Angry Video Game Nerd. And they essentially worked together to develop this band, and they called it Rex Viper because it has this 80s mystique about it. It's, the way he's kind of described it is, workout music for nerds, or montage music. And what they do is, it's pretty unique in terms of what I've seen, but they take 80s music and they combine it with video game music from the 80s, and they sort of mesh them together. So you've got like Eye of a Tiger electronics, which is like Eye of a Tiger mixed with Mega Man 2 soundtrack. They've got Hearts on Fire. They've got, which is, I don't know if that's the right one, but they combine like the soundtrack to Back to the Future with the, what is it, Johnny Be Good, the song, whatever it's something of love. I'm messing it up.
Power of Love.
Power of Love, yeah. They mesh these two kind of tropes or video game or music ideas into one kind of cohesive song, and it's a little bit of a cover, a little bit of original stuff, and its own lyrics, and it's just a unique sound. And it was neat to see them in person. There was their first time ever playing together live in front of an audience, because they were kind of formed during sort of the COVID times. So all of their working together and doing their practicing was online, right? Remotely. Mm-hmm. So it was really neat to see them play together for the first time ever. And they weren't great. I'll be honest, they were very rusty, and their singer was a little bit off. But it was just really so awesome to see him in person. If you want to see the video, I've got the whole thing. I recorded it from start to finish on my YouTube channel, Limited Draw Distance. Just search for that on YouTube, or search for Rex Viper and Too Many Games, and it'll pop up. It's my best performing video so far. Kind of got a little mini, how do you say, explosion in terms of virality to it. But it's just a great way to experience and see the whole thing. And I know that James and his team are working on taking all the different angles that were shot of the event and mixing it into a sort of more finished product. So if you're interested, if you like what you see there, definitely be on the lookout for that. And in all his videos, at least the 4 that he's published so far, they've made music videos for. And there were actually 2 at the concert that were brand new, that were premiered there. So I'm sure you'll see videos from them. But you can find that on his Cinemasker channel. But that was obviously, the best, the most exciting thing for me. The reason I went to the event, I got a T-shirt and other things signed by the band and James. So yeah, it's great. And I got the T-shirt hanging up on my wall, so I can always be reminded of the fun event. So yeah. Beyond that, Scott the Waz, got to see him there. I never see him in person. He's obviously a great YouTuber who's making lots of awesome content. And just really excited to see more of him. He's going to be blowing up big time in our space, I think, in the future. Especially since he's got a TV show coming out eventually on G4. Apparently, I didn't know that.
Yeah.
You probably will forget, because I can't imagine anyone's going to have G4 anyways.
Yeah.
Was G4 actually coming back as a TV channel?
Yes, but it's on
as a TV channel. That's the important thing.
An actual TV channel, and it's on certain services, certain streaming services. Otherwise, it's on certain TV networks, and it's okay, this is not gonna go over well.
We were just talking about it either last week or the week before. We're just how dense can they be? When they came out originally, they just missed the YouTube jump on.
Yeah.
And now that it's popular, they're hey, let's just go back to the format that basically killed us last time and try it again. Nobody has cable TV anymore. I don't know what they're thinking.
I don't pay for cable in my house, so.
Yeah.
You know what they should do? They should make a streaming service like Netflix or anything else that's just video game focused and charge a monthly fee for it. You want to see Scott the Waz videos? You got to go to G4 streaming service. Or you want to see Donkey or whoever else you like? I don't know.
Maybe they can add it to NSO.
What's that?
No, God, no. Give it even less of a fucking reason to exist. Jesus Christ.
Nintendo Switch Online?
Yeah, the expansion pack.
Yeah. But Too Many Games. I will it go again? Maybe, I don't know. It was a good event. I'm not too far from it. If it's if James and other heavy hitters, and I think this was the first time they had done it since COVID, right? So this is the first post-COVID event. So I have to imagine whatever they do in the future will probably be bigger than this, right? Because as more people get comfortable going out. Another person I saw was She Says, who does the Unbreakable.
I like his Boundary Break. Yeah.
Very nice guy. I met with just kind of did a little selfie with him and whatnot, and just said hi to him, and very cool guy. Obviously, new to this whole fame thing or whatever do you want to call it, pseudo fame.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, great guy. Great to see him overall, and played a few indie games. None of them were necessarily spectacular or whatnot. I did actually an overview video also on the Unlimited Draw Distance channel that kind of just shows me walking around and it's just kind of like basically a collection of B-roll.
So like none of the indie games stood out to you, really?
I mean, they did, but I'm struggling to remember anything. Okay, there was one. It was like a fighting game. It was Fight.exe. Okay, there we go. And I remember it because it looked janky and experimental and weird. You can probably find it online, but it was called Fight.exe. I didn't even record myself playing it, but that was a weird game. I'm sure there are YouTube videos. It's so janky. It's like a janky 3D fighter, PS1 era, but worse. There was a great game. I'm blanking on the name. I'll look it up, but it was you play as a guitar player, and it's a 2D platformer, but you strum your guitar in different ways to create different sound waves, which have different reactions to the environment. And so I thought it was very neat because it had a very cute art style that was reminiscent of Adventure Time. So that's kind of what stuck out. If you like Adventure Time, that sort of art style, you'd like this game. And it was a decent platform. It was a little rough around the edges, but the team is making it is all college students. So for what they've been able to do with who they are and their skill set, I think it's got a pretty good start. They've got definitely some potential there. And then there was like a Contra clone
Iron Meat
game. Iron Meat, yeah. It was neat. I played it for a few minutes. It was neat. Definitely gave you the Contra vibes. There was a wrestling game, BWO or something like that. You guys might know this one. It's trying to be reminiscent of like 16-bit arcade sort of wrestling games.
I know Retromania was.
Retromania, that's what it was.
Yeah, that game's awesome because it actually got a lot of older wrestlers in the game.
Yeah, no, I mean it definitely.
And I think the announcer is Colt Cabana. So.
Okay. Yeah, so they had a whole thing there with a panel, and it's not a game that necessarily like I'm all about, but I can definitely see there's a lot of love, and they definitely put a lot of attention into the craft, and it looks just like all those 16-bit era arcade WrestleMania style games. So that stood out to me. And then they had that new Nickelodeon Smash Brothers knockoff. I watched a few minutes of people playing it, but I mean, it wasn't.
It's a bit rough.
Is it?
It's definitely a bit rough.
I think they'll improve it with time and like DLC and stuff.
I think you'd sooner see a sequel than a improvement of that game.
They've already had like 3 patches, so really? I don't know. Maybe they will.
I don't think what's wrong with that game can be fixed by patches. I think there's some fundamental issues with it that exist at a base level that they probably won't change. So we'll see.
I see.
But beyond that, I mean, I didn't sell or buy any video games. I mean, I did look at some of the old games. I was really surprised, like a new Genesis. They're not even new. Like the box was all jacked up, but like they were selling Sega Genesis like $350. I'm like,
oh yeah,
sounds about right.
People are really wild. Yeah.
Wow.
The retro market since COVID has gone through the roof. Like you have to pay ridiculous prices now.
Wow. I should probably sell some because I got stuff from all the way back in Nintendo, and I'm building out a little entertainment center sort of / history museum to all my old systems now that we're kind of moved into the house. So I've got these little Calyx cubes from IKEA, and each one of them has like a different entertainment system inside of it. So all the way from like, Super NES to PlayStation 4, I've got that set up.
Very nice.
But, one game I wish I still had, but I sold like a decade and a half ago, was Panzer Dragoon Saga.
Ooh, that's a good
the market,
game.
Yeah, the market on that has been crazy. Like I sold it for a couple $100 back in 15 years ago, and nowadays it's like worth $1,700, $1,800. So it's crazy. But I really had the itch to play it. They weren't selling it there. At least I couldn't find a vendor selling it, so I just downloaded the ROM. So I'm now playing it on an emulator on my computer, so satisfies that urge. But beyond that, too many games. Good conference. Looking forward to any other conferences that might be coming out now that we're kind of getting back to post-COVID activities. Like maybe I'll go to E3 again. I don't know.
Yeah, I'd say, are you earmarking anything yet, or just kind of just keeping your options open?
I'm not scheduling anything. No, not right now. Although I'd love to go to a PAX. I've never been to a PAX, but I hear those are very fun and popular.
Yeah, I've always heard they're very good. I still haven't been to one either.
Isn't there one on the PAX? There's PAX East.
Yeah.
There's PAX East. That's up in like Boston, I believe.
Yeah, that's my
That's
friends.
where I
went
think
to
the
it
last one was.
My
Yeah.
friends went to it last year,
Yeah.
before everything got
okay.
shut down.
And
Yeah,
there's
just
also,
right before February.
Just right before. Yep.
Yeah. There's also
Wow.
PAX Prime in Texas. And
Right,
then
right.
Philly has PAX Unplugged, which is a more tabletop and board game focused version of PAX.
Okay.
So,
Well, I would go to PAX East. Probably is my next adventure. What do you guys? You thinking about going to any conferences now that kind of things are hopefully getting somewhat back to normal?
Not at the moment.
I was gonna say I do actually have. I just got in the mail the other day. I got my pass in the mail for Anime New York.
Ooh.
On the
nice.
20th.
Nice.
So I'll be going up to New York probably on the 20th for that. And that's always a fun time. I more so go there for like just, the sights and whatnot. Because I don't go to New York that often. I've obviously been avoiding New York like the plague, literally like the plague for the past just about 2 years. But now that I feel a little bit more comfortable going out, I've been to like things here or there. Like I went to a few concerts and stuff of that nature, but whenever I go out, I make sure I'm like masked up and I just bring some like hand sanitizer with me. Because nerds especially, I know you're listening to me right now, nerds, but nerds especially do not like to practice personal hygiene, and I don't trust them either to do that. So whatever. I also have tickets for MagFest, which is actually down by your way in National Harbor, Maryland.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. So I'll
Is
be there.
Is that a pretty good convention? Should I consider going to that?
So it's a music and gaming festival. So, like, to give you an idea of people who I've seen there in past years, I've seen the Continue guys there from YouTube. John Charon, when he was still palatable, he was there. I know, what's his name, was there before. Fuck, why am I? Oh, Aaron Hansen was there before. And they
Just
went.
the Game Grumps in general.
Yeah, Game Grumps were there in
Past
general. Past Game Grumps, but I think that's like done now too. I know what's the band? What's the band? You should know this, Brandon.
Which one?
The band, fucking
Starbomb.
Yeah, Starbomb has played there before in the past. The last MagFest I went to actually had Jun Suno and most of Crush 40 there, and they were doing like Sonic Adventure music like live, and that was really fucking cool.
They were probably very drunk.
I was also very drunk, so I was right there with them, buddy. I was about half a bottle deep in some vodka and wearing a Yoshi onesie. It was great.
Hey, my man.
It was a very fun time. So yeah, that honestly I would say is my favorite convention to go to, especially if you like concerts and whatnot. Like that's one of the main draws of that convention is the music aspect of it. Then you have like panels, and you get some really cool panels. You get some other panels that aren't so cool. Like, and I mean by aren't so cool because you get shit like you'll go to there's a huge voice actor panel I go to every year because it has Wes Johnson, John St. John goes to it, and then you have like a few other like voice actors who like if you heard them you would know who they are, but you might not know them by name. And like what's really cool about those is like you get a lot of people who come up and ask interesting questions and stuff like that, but then you have other people who walk up and be like, how do I become a voice actor? And the guys are always just like, just do it. just give it a shot.
Yeah, great advice.
So it's honestly it's my favorite. It's like a 24-hour a day for 4 days nerdy camp. So it's right in National Harbor, right at the Gaylord National. So
yeah, no, I'm looking at their website right now, and I'm just thinking like, should I go to this? The only thing is, it's in early January. It looks like
it is.
So I should be back from. We're gonna take some time off, go down to Texas and Florida for visiting the family. I should be back by then. Mm-hmm. So maybe I'll see you there.
Yeah, let me know if you go.
Absolutely. Maybe I can try and come there as media.
I mean, hey, you could be. There's definitely a chance. There's a lot of cosplay that goes on there too, so you can definitely take a lot of pictures.
Sweet. Yeah, definitely. There was some good cosplay at Too Many Games. Not the greatest, but there was a few people who were pretty into it. Good Star Wars cosplay. I took a picture of this Luigi cosplayer that was like super buff.
Oh,
that was very funny. But not like super duper cosplay. Mostly just and that smell you smell when a group of young male nerds are in a room together. That was very pleasant. Yep.
Actually, I think the last Too Many Games is the one that Chris Chandler got kicked out of.
Wow. Yeah, I saw some videos.
I think that was
about
the last one. Yeah. Good old Chris Chan got kicked out of too many games for being inappropriate.
What did he do? Oh, you know what? Maybe we shouldn't.
Honestly, just take it at face value because I'm pretty sure she's also in jail right now. But yeah, no, she got kicked out of too many games, and I've seen videos, and like, it's not funny what happened, but just like seeing Chris Chan get escorted off a premises is just beautiful. So
yeah, not too much love lost for him.
Yeah, but yeah, so
cool. Yeah, I'll probably go next year. Maybe we'll see. I don't know. There's an anime convention called KatsuCon. Have you heard of that?
Yes, it's in the same hotel as MagFest.
Okay. Yeah, I went to that like 15 years ago or 16 years ago. That was a fun event. Now that I'm in this area, I should go again. So yeah, I have so many more options. I did go to, when I was in Korea, I did go to their anime convention in Seoul.
Oh, that must have been sweet.
Whoa.
It was pretty cool. Not as big as you think, but still had it's an anime convention, and so a lot of was it anime or was it more than that? I mean, they had movies and anime and all. Is it your typical like everything convention? But yeah, it was pretty neat. I took the family to that actually. So this was pre-COVID. So this was one of the few events we got to go to. It was early in late in 2019 that we had that, and so that was pretty neat. They had one of the guests, featured guests was. One of the guys from Pirates of the Caribbean movie, and like one of the lower rung actors, or his name. But yeah, that was a good event. So still trying to nerd out, even in Korea. But now that I'm back here, got so many more options. I can go to Philadelphia, I can go to New York, I can go.
Yeah.
I know New York just had a convention recently, right? Comic-Con?
New York Comic-Con, yes. Yeah, actually, I had tickets for that, but I sold it. I sold the tickets. That I had for that because of the situation. I didn't want to go with the person who it's crazy how like you can buy tickets far out for something and then like the person you wanted to go with is just like you have a falling out and you're like, well, guess I gotta figure that one out. Guess I gotta figure that one out now. So I don't do that anymore.
You plan to like share a hotel room and travel up there together?
No, but they had control of the tickets and they were being a poopy person. I was like, you know what? Just sell my ticket. And they're like, okay.
Jeez. Wow, so, I'm sorry to hear that.
No, it's cool. It's fine, honestly. Am I hurt over it? No.
You sure?
I'm good.
Okay.
Yeah,
you want to talk about it?
No.
But yeah. But no, beyond that, I'm not really tracking anything. I mean, are they even going to have an E3 2022? Who knows?
I don't know.
Where the variants are at.
Yeah, it'd probably be online again. I wouldn't be surprised.
Are we? Can't we say we're honestly in a post E3 world now? I mean, seriously, right?
Yeah, I don't think E3 needs to really exist anymore.
No, not really. It's become very irrelevant.
Yeah,
I mean, all the major companies have they've developed their platforms to such a degree that it's like, Sony wants to do something, they put their state of play. Nintendo does their Nintendo Direct. Microsoft. Who knows? They'll probably figure out something.
They do them. I just forget what they call them. Don't they have like things for them? There's supposed to be Halo ones, isn't there?
That was like yesterday, the day before.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, because they had like a 20th anniversary Xbox thing where they're like, we're not showing off any new games, and then like new information got showed off about some games. Craig DeBrute has a beard now.
Oh wow, then.
Good for him. And I saw Oddworld's coming to Xbox, so that's cool.
I didn't know that. That's neat.
Yeah.
Is that another Oddworld? Didn't they just come out with an Oddworld game?
That's the one.
That's the one. So the one that was PlayStation 5 exclusive is now coming to Xbox.
Yeah. I don't know. I think. Well, the thing is, Microsoft doesn't even play with E3. I mean, they do their own separate event at the same time.
Yeah.
So it's again, but now they own Bethesda, right? They bought Bethesda.
Yeah.
They own everyone.
Yeah. So they could run their own. They'll be E3. They'll just buy every single company, and
it's going that direction.
They basically own 20% of E3 as it is right now.
Yeah, I mean, with Sony backing out and Nintendo not doing anything, I mean, Microsoft doesn't even have a booth on the floor. It's all third parties. So I don't know.
Yeah.
But, I say that now, but then I'll book my tickets. Like the last E3 I went to, I did not buy tickets or anything until probably about a week prior.
Yeah, I remember it was a very last minute decision for you.
Yeah. Yeah, it was just kind of like on a whim. I think I asked the wife, and she was like, "Yeah, sure, whatever, go ahead. I'll hold it against you later." No, she's been very supportive of my habits and my. But what's nice is the kids are getting older now, and like I'm trying to get them more into games, so we can play games together. Did anybody play Game Builder Garage?
I've not tried that yet. I've seen it.
No, it looked pretty neat, the stuff they're building.
Yeah, I got that because I've always had this sort of itch to do video game design, right? And so these little how to build a game things and game maker stuff always intrigued me. So I played through that, but I also got him to play through it. So this, 6-year-old kid, he's building the same levels I am. So it's a really good tool for just learning the basics of video games. And even though he can read pretty well, but even that, like the tutorial really just guides you through the whole process. So if you're looking for an easy way to kind of get the basics of it, Game Builder Garage is it. I recommend it.
Nice.
Yeah, so get him into some games and then we can play together. That's my plan.
Yeah. It's right about the right age.
Yeah. So he'll be 7 soon, so I'm sure and once he does actually get into games, he'll have his whole he'll have a smorgasbord to choose from because it's like, again, I've got all the way back to Super Nintendo and tons of options. He can get the whole gaming history. He loves he loves Mario. So we have the SNES and NES Classic, and he's played through, all the Mario games, and he loves Mario. He loves Mario Maker too. I've got that for the Switch, and he'll make his own levels, and I'll play them, and they're not bad. He tends to get a little overboard with bullet bills, but otherwise, though, he's got some sense about him. So, but yeah.
Are you guys looking forward to the Mario movie next year?
Oh yeah, isn't it neat to know that there's gonna be a Mario movie and a Sonic movie in the same year in cinema? Isn't that crazy to think about?
Yeah.
I didn't even think about the fact the Sonic movie is going to be at the same time.
Yeah, I'm hoping they do a crossover. They need to do a crossover movie. What do you guys think of the voice casting choices for Mario? Are you all upset about it, or do you not care?
I'm indifferent. I don't care.
I don't care, but I'm just kind of hoping that it's not the case where it's just like, we got a bunch of these Hollywood actors, and they put forth the very minimal amount of effort.
That's 100% what it's going to be.
That's what I'm hoping it's not. Well, I mean, I thought the same thing with the Lego movie, and then the Lego movie surprised me. So, due to that, I'm kind of like holding back judgment, at least on films, because I feel like when it comes to movies, at least since the Lego movie, I've been more surprised by poor casting choices.
Yeah.
And when I say poor casting choices, I don't mean, I don't like this actor or anything. I just mean things like, if you already have established voices in your game and that sort of thing, maybe just keep it that way. That's just kind of my thoughts on it. Like, I'm pretty sure Charles Martinet would have been absolutely floored if he could have voice acted Mario in a Hollywood movie, even if it's just like the little grunts and stuff like that. It just seems kind of rude.
They said he's going to have something in it, and I was thinking about that. I know. I was kind of thinking. I think they're going to do what you were just talking about,
like the little grunts and stuff.
Yeah, like I bet they're going to have Chris Pratt do like the talking bits, and then Charles Martinet will do like the Wahoo Yippies.
Yeah, if he does that, I'll be very happy. Actually, I think that's a very good thing to do for him.
The Yahoos and the Yippies.
Yeah, I mean, we've never seen Mario monologue before, so it's kind of like, what would he sound like doing extended monologue? You kind of get a little bit of that when I was watching the Charles Martinet panel, because he did speak for an extended period of time with the sort of Mario accented voice.
Yeah,
and
he does do that.
I don't know if I could listen to that for an entire movie. I don't know.
Yeah, it would be a little much.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, he's great in short bursts, and the way they're using Mario now, I think it's interesting. It'll be interesting to see, just from a dialogue perspective, like, what does Mario think about things, in terms of like nowadays, right? Because, we've had all the different Mario variations from the past. I mean, I'm hopeful. I hope that the folks making decisions have the best intents in mind. But I'm going to keep my expectations low. The one thing I will say, it'll probably be better than the original Mario movie. Right? Come on, maybe, right? You think
it's just a reboot of the original movie?
Yeah, right.
Or the long-awaited sequel.
So since I saw that as a kid, like quite literally, I kind of hold a special place. So I know it's bad. I know it's awful. And I watch it as a bad movie. But I watch it similar to something like The Room, where I'm like, this is so bad that it's like entertainingly bad. So I don't know if it can be better because of my own thoughts on the film, but I like it for all the wrong reasons, you know?
Yeah, I
now,
guess
as
like,
a better made movie, yeah, absolutely. I hope we get a better made movie. But yeah.
What would be worse? It being a bad movie, but classically bad, or would it be a good movie, but it's mediocrely good, right? You know, it's like
Definitely
we enjoy it, we
mediocrely
have a
good.
good time.
It would be bad that way. I think something that's just like unimaginative and forgettable is worse than having something that's like really bad.
Yeah. No, I think Nintendo will do it right. I mean, at least from a story perspective, I'm hoping, you know, because I mean they've waited so long to make another movie, but you know, crossing fingers that this will be the beginning of a cinematic Nintendo cinematic universe, and we'll see Metroid and Zelda and well, we already see Pokemon, but you know, all those other Nintendo mainstays. I would love to this be sort of the beginning of that.
Okay. Yeah, I kind of agree with you there. I'm not sure how open Nintendo would be about something like that, especially since like they haven't even added like Link or anything into their theme park. So it's like it almost feels like they just want to branch out with Mario currently. If anything, like the next thing they'll probably branch out with is like Pikmin.
Well, I think there's Pikmin in the park if I remember.
None
but
there's
not there's not like a ride, but I think they're there. I seem to remember reading something about it.
Really rides in the park to begin with, but
there's the Mario Kart thing.
There's the Donkey Kong stuff coming.
And as I say, yeah, there's Donkey Kong.
As I say, the Mario Kart VR racing thing.
Yeah.
Is that really a ride?
Yeah. You sit in a car.
I like Nick's response. Yeah.
I mean, what makes a ride?
Movement, not sitting in one place with the headset on.
You move. No, you move.
Bruh, that's like going to the movie theater and be like, yeah, man, I went to a theme park. I sat in one of those 4D chairs.
First of all, if when you go to the movies and the little preview things, you don't fake ride the Coca-Cola roller coaster with your friends, you can get the fuck out of my theater. You are not watching that movie with me.
Yeah, this is one thing that COVID really messed up with, because I was planning to go to Japan when I was in Korea to, you know, visit the Super Mario World, whatever. Now I gotta wait till it comes to Universal Studios in Florida, whatever that might be.
And it's at 2025.
Yeah, something like that.
2025. I
know.
Well, you
have an easier chance going back to Japan, and
I know, right? Jeez, yeah, that sucks.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know, I'm looking forward to it whenever it comes around here. Any visualization, any real world, because I was hoping for like some sort of Nintendo theme park, you know, it's like dedicated Nintendo theme park would be awesome. But I'll take whatever I can get, you know. It's just going to be a world within Universal Studios. Hey, I'm all about that. But wouldn't it be nice if like this Mario movie, again, like I said, led to the Nintendo Cinematic Universe, which ultimately led to the Super Smash Brothers movie?
Oh my god, that would actually be amazing.
The end game of Nintendo? Come on. That'd be neat.
It could be fun.
Any other video game movies coming out? Anybody is interested in?
Is there anything else?
They're making a new Resident Evil movie.
Oh yeah,
they are doing a reboot of that, aren't they?
Yeah.
Hopefully a Mortal Kombat sequel.
They were talking, or specifically Idris Elba today was talking about the sequel to the Sonic movie, and specifically felt they needed to point out that Knuckles won't be sexy. So I kind of don't want to see it now. I was 100% holding out for sexy Knuckles.
Oh.
But now he's not going to be
sexy. You can just dress like him for Halloween.
I could just... It's not the same.
All right. So we got Uncharted, Resident Evil.
Yeah. I didn't see that trailer, actually. It's hot dog shit.
Borderlands.
Well, I've read about Borderlands, too.
Those are like the only ones we have currently.
Yeah, there's the Last of Us TV show, too. I guess that should be thrown into that mix.
Apparently it was a Dynasty Warriors live-action Chinese movie that came out this year on April 29th. What?
But why?
But why not?
I guess. Maybe.
There's an Injustice movie coming out October 19th.
How about that Steam Deck, huh?
Yeah. What about
Steam Deck?
Yeah, I've already bought it.
You already bought it? Oh, great. Which one?
I just got the middle one. I didn't get the one with the special class thing because I didn't realize that there was one with special class thing because I didn't read all the fucking fine print. But essentially, I bought the one that's 512, 524, something like that. It's like the middle amount. Let me see. It's still in my 529. It's comes with a 256 gigabyte NVMe SSD and the ability to add extra storage. So
Nice.
yeah, it doesn't release according to my Steam account until first quarter of 2022. So I guess different ones release at different times.
Yeah.
Because I'm looking at like the one that's the tempered glass one with the like non-reflective stuff, and that's second quarter of 2022. So I'll have mine before the other ones release.
Yeah.
I was just looking at it because there's a story about the upcoming Steam sales for Halloween, autumn, and winter. So be on the lookout for those. So you can buy games you'll never play.
Yeah, I actually haven't bought like hardly any Steam games in a while. There's one game I really want to get called Inscription. It looks like a lot of fun. It's an indie game by the same people that made Pony Island, but I haven't pulled the trigger on it yet. And then, like, I've got Horizon 5 coming out in a few days, so...
Oh, that is coming out in a few days. I'm gonna get that on Xbox, though.
I just have Game Pass, so I'll just get it.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I'll just get it on Game Pass.
There you go. I hear that's a pretty good service. I just tend to... I'm on the PSN, so I do that. Get my free games from there. I get my free games from Epic on their service, and then that's about it. Although I did buy and play through Cyberpunk back a few years ago. Whenever that came out.
A year
I thought it was
ago?
a pretty good game. I enjoyed it. Yeah, I enjoyed it. I beat it before I left Korea.
What'd you play it on?
I've got a PC game.
Okay, so you have so you at least
2080 Ti with all the specs from 2019.
Nice.
So, good machine.
So it probably ran at like 1440p or some shit.
Well, my monitor is a super ultra widescreen monitor, so it's
Same.
like 5000 by 1440, so it worked for me. Is
Okay,
it from Samsung?
You mean an actual super ultra wide? You have the fucking big honking boy. All right, I know what you're talking about.
Yeah.
I have the Gigabyte 3440 by fucking something. I don't know.
Yeah, no, this thing's like 5120 by 1440 or whatever.
Damn, so you got the... Yeah, okay, that's crazy. Yeah.
Yeah, it is awesome. I mean, honestly, the whole peripheral vision thing. Although I will say a lot of, some of the UI elements don't, I would say, play nice with it, especially in Cyberpunk. Like the map, right? They have that circular map. It like goes to the corner of the screen. So if I'm trying to like reference it to know where to go, I'm like losing track of my car and I'm running into people and going off the road. And not that it matters, but again, it's like... It is a little inconvenient, but otherwise, though, it's a great monitor. I love it. Played through both the Doom games, the newest Doom games through it.
Oh yeah, those are great.
Yeah, I mean it's an awesome monitor, awesome system. I played not that this monitor matters, but Deltarune. Anybody play Deltarune?
I've played the first part.
Okay, yeah, I got the second part. The second chapter is pretty awesome.
In the general chat, I posted the monitor I have, so I don't have the big boy like you do. I just have I think this one's 3440 by 1440, so it's one of those instead, 34-inch. Nice. It's curved and it's very nice.
It's mine. It's not the 1000R super curved monitor, but it is again like a super ultra wide, so it's wanted something ridiculously wide, and I got it.
Yeah, I use mine when streaming. Like I have all my streaming software on the ultra wide monitor, and then I just like use my TV or one of my 1080p monitors on the side to actually play the game I'm streaming. It's very convenient like that.
Once you get used to it, it's tough to go back because like two 27-inch monitors side by side, it's just so good. So no Deltarune Chapter 2 players, but that game is coming up pretty well. I can't wait for the whole thing to eventually launch, whenever that might be.
Has he figured out how big or how long he's planning on making it? I haven't read much on it in a while.
Well, if you play the game, Chapter 2, you realize that it's 7 chapters long. Like that is something that you figure out, just because that's how many remaining chapters there are at the end of the game into that level you see. So it's 7 chapters. It sounds like he's planning to drop chapters 3 through 5 as one big chunk when he's actually going to sell the game.
Okay.
So you'll have to pay to play those chapters. And then my guess is the remaining 6 and 7 chapters will be an addition that he adds on later. So if I were a betting man, I'd say he probably charges, $20 to $30 for chapters 3 through 5. And then eventually when he finishes it, you get chapters 6 and 7. So.
Okay.
But yeah, whatever it costs. I mean, I wouldn't pay more than $30, but I mean, he definitely shows like he's done a lot of work, and there's so much to it. And man, there's a lot of like if you play through Undertale, and like the genocide route, there's a very similar thing in this, and it's just pretty impressive in terms of just making you feel emotional for these little characters and stuff that you see on the screen. So
very nice.
I highly recommend checking it out. It's free, so yeah.
No excuses.
Just your time. It just costs your time, guys. Come on. What's your time cost?
Yeah, we have so many games I need to finish.
I know. I'm the same way. I've got Luigi's Mansion 3, which I just bought on sale, and I also bought the Pokemon Snap on sale, and so both those games are sitting on my desk, sitting on my shelf, staring at me, as well as every other. I was looking because I got all my stuff from Mississippi, and there's games in plastic wrap, and I still haven't gotten through, and maybe I shouldn't open them. Like I need
to finish Dread and fucking Deathloop.
Oh, okay. I heard very good things about Deathloop. Is that?
It's a very good game. Yeah, it's great. What I played of it, it kind of got a little bit overwhelming for me when I got to a certain portion of the game, because you know how like when you play Witcher 3, for instance, it's like you've got information overload on the screen where it's like, oh, there's a quest over here, or there's this, that, and the other. Well, there's actually like a cork board in Deathloop that, like, as you find out more information about what happens on any given day during that game, the cork board gets filled up more and more. And I got to a point where, like, it looked like that Charlie Day meme picture where he's just pointing at all the wires and everything. And I was just like, oh god, this is too much to deal with right now. I'll play this later. And I haven't played it later yet.
No, it's like any Ubisoft game, right? It's like you got a billion places that pop up and different things you can do.
Well, it's not necessarily that, because the whole game's like about a time loop. So it's more of like times of days when certain characters will be in certain places, or where certain keys and weapons and items will be left out that I can obtain. So like then I have to actually plan out the daytime in the game as to when I'm going to go here, 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 and here. And I have to, like, it's kind of a puzzle in and of itself, figuring out how you're going to get from point A to point B at this time, and what you're going to pick up there, and what you're going to leave behind, and what you're not going to take, and how you're going to try to get to these people. Because the overall goal of the game is to kill, like, 7 people in one day. And you only have one chance at that, and then you get reset from the beginning, but you get to keep your knowledge, and if you've found a way to upgrade yourself where you get to keep your stuff going into the next thing, then you get to keep the stuff that you kept from your last run, sort of like an actual roguelike. But it can be very disorienting and very like frustrating trying to figure out how to get this person here and this person there, and get from these people to these people to kill these people, and then get from those people to these people to kill these people. And you have to sometimes get like a twofer in one room. So you have to find a way to get those people into that room, a way to like lure them there. So perhaps one jump you have to like search through someone's computer, but then the next jump, like you can't search through that computer because you did something different. So then you're like, fuck, I messed up the timeline. So now I got to wait, and I got to wait till my next run and figure out what I did wrong that makes it so I can't do that, so that I don't do that this time, so I can do this. And it's a very interesting game, but it literally has like all the time traveling bullshit from any kind of time traveling movie. So it gets very annoying at times.
Yeah, I hate when I mess up the timeline.
Yeah, me too.
It always frustrates me, and then I gotta start over. Ugh. Yeah, no, I'd love to check out that game, but then I'd also love to have infinite time because I barely have time to play the games I have. So, but I've heard very good things about that. Yeah, you said the corkboard. Is the corkboard persistent?
So as you learn more things, it's updated, and it stays there each run. That way you have the information. But like you may not have done the thing you need to like, use what that information has given you. So you have to remember like the way you did it last time, so you can do that again. So then you can actually do what the corkboard is like giving you hints at, or so on and so forth. So it's like, okay, well, I found these people at this place, and I found out these people are lovers. So I need to like set up a date for them to be at this place, so I can do this and kill them off here together and that sort of thing. So I have to like fake some kind of like love letter, or I have to do this, that, and the other, or I have to hack their computer and like leave an email for them. And it's a lot more complicated than it seems from the like all the trailers led you to believe. And a lot of the trailers didn't really spoil that much, which I'm very surprised, because it seemed like the amount of times I saw that game, I had been spoiled the entire way through. But no, there's a lot of stuff in this game that like was not even mentioned anywhere, and it's very good. It's basically like Dishonored if Dishonored was a roguelike. So yeah.
Cool. Last roguelike I played was Hades. That was a good game.
Hades is a great one. That's a good game.
Yeah. I'll be honest, I beat it once, and I was like, well, I'm never beating this game again. I try. I should have gotten better with time, but it's like it's so dependent on if you get the right loadout, determining how good your success is in a lot of ways. So I was like, I don't know. I should play it again. I should. I'm bad for not playing it more than once, but I'm sort of once I beat the story mission of most games, I'm kind of never gonna ever come back to them. But it sucks because they put so much effort into all that extra stuff. I barely have time to play I have time to play a story. Speaking of which, how's that story of Metroid Dread?
That they can tell you.
Okay. So Mike, both of you and I are the only ones who have beaten Metroid Dread here, right?
That's but correct. He doesn't want you to actually spoil it, obviously.
Yeah, don't spoil it for me. Just give me your impressions.
This is the only thing I'm gonna say about the story. I don't necessarily enjoy how it ends because it doesn't make any sense.
Oh.
We can talk after the podcast.
Yeah. But overall, really loved how the game played. Really loved it felt a lot of like the old exploration aspects of Super Metroid. I did come to the conclusion though, because I put a tweet out like a week or so ago where I was like, the biggest blemish on this game is the Emmys, and then I had to dig deeper in that statement, and it's not the Emmys. The biggest blemish on this game is the parrying, because it's so inconsistent and so haphazardly done that it just doesn't make any sense from a game design standpoint. Because, like, in my opinion, right, and you can say I'm wrong for this, I feel like good game design, right, the game, through the environment, will teach you how to do certain things and progress and whatnot, right?
Yeah. Yep.
So
it's Mega Man X.
Yeah,
right there for you.
I mean, that's Mega Man X. That Mega Man X wrote the Bible on that. My problem with this game, and I guess I don't know, it's because I didn't play a lot of Samus Returns. I didn't get a lot of this from that. The parrying mechanic it doesn't have a specific behavior, and it's super specific to whatever it is you're fighting at that time. So, like, the parrying that you would have to do to kick an enemy off of you is different from, like, a random enemy, and is different from, like, some boss battles, and the timing is different depending on what you're doing. If you go into our messages last night, Brandon, which I'm sure you probably saw
I actually read your messages from last night. Yeah, I saw them.
There was a part of the final boss where you have to parry, and, like, up until that point, the game teaches you, hey, when that little flash happens, that's when you parry. No. You have to... Basically, I would be willing to bet that most people, if not all people, failed that first parry on that attack. Because if you parry when the flash happens, it's too late. You got to do it before it happens.
I'm still saying that it is absolutely a hardware issue. The reason why I say this is, like I even noticed it more so when I went back to play more of it, because I did play more of it. I didn't finish the game. I did play a little bit more though, because I had like 10-15 minutes to go to spare at one point, so I booted it up and played a little bit. And essentially it was a Emmy zone that I had to go through, and I noticed that when you go from gameplay into that cutscene for the Emmy attacking you and that sort of thing, all the fog that's around you because of that is causing the frame rate to dip massively. And I think when that happens, that causes the inconsistencies with parrying, because I had to like adjust to how low the frame rate went when the parrying aspect came in for it later on, and I was like, okay, I can do this because I've dealt with like poor frame rates and that sort of shit in the past, but I absolutely just was not hitting things the way I needed to as well.
I would agree with you, but I think you might have to play further into the game to really understand what I'm saying, because I don't think it's a I mean, it could be a little bit of that, right? Like it could be a mixture of both of those things, where like when you go into the bullet time to parry an Emmy, yes, that could be 100% something that's causing that problem. But I think by design, Nintendo wanted different parrying actions to act differently. And it becomes more apparent the more you go through the game, because not only with the final boss, but at other certain points that there's enemies that if you were to parry them, it's not necessarily needed to finish, but like it's a necessary thing if you want the battle to go easier. And even those are like differently timed.
I think there is like some mini bosses that require you to parry, and I will even say too, and I agree with your point completely about the parrying varying between enemies quite a lot in this, because like those mini bosses, they require you to do like chain parries together, which is annoying. And to about Samus Returns too, like you said, you don't really remember too much of it, but that was like parrying the game. Like you literally every enemy parried, and they all parried exactly the same, and so that's all you did over and over. So I mean, I appreciate that they changed it for this game, but I do agree, like I don't know if they necessarily did it right. Like it's cool when you pull it off, like it looks nice, but it needs to be a bit more refined.
Because like I said, that's my main problem, is that like you're constantly learning different ways to do this same move, and basically it always sets you up for failure if it's a new way of that happening.
Yes.
If that makes any sense. And like that to me is poor game design, because if you are trying to establish something in the game as a thing, then just make it a thing. Like I can't think of any other mechanic in that game that it changes over time. Like there's no other way to open a certain type of door or a certain type of block. Like this is how you do this thing. This is how you do this thing. So like that to me is kind of what that came down to. Because then once like I progressed past the point of Emmys even being in the game, like the game is super fun to play. Like, and especially when you get more of your unlocks towards endgame, like Samus is fucking ridiculous at the endgame of Dread. But just that in and of itself, I feel like is my main gripe with the game. But overall, I really loved it. I liked it a lot. The ending has me confused because there's a lot of things that in my mind don't really make a lot of sense cohesively, and also I kind of wish the game ended in a way that was more, how can I put this without spoiling anything? I kind of wish the game ended in a way where it was like this, like, because I know like leading up to this, they're like, this is the finale of the 2.5D story, the 2D story, and
it sounded like it was the finale of like Metroid, first Metroid to now.
Well,
right?
yeah,
because that's kind of the idea.
The 2D Metroids, the 2D Metroids take place are the main series game, and then the Prime games are, I forget where they fall exactly into the timeline, but like
between 1 and 2.
Yeah. So
I thought Prime took place before 1. Am I mistaken?
No, Prime is after like the first Zebes thing.
Yeah.
But before she kills all the Metroids on the planet.
Yeah. So basically, if you play a Metroid game where Metroids are still in it, it's pretty much safe to assume that it's pre-Metroid 2. Or Super Metroid, I guess, because Super Metroid is really when the last Metroid dies. So...
Spoiler alert. Just kidding.
I'm sorry, the game's like 30 years old now.
I know.
But no, like I said, I really loved the game. My completion time was 7.5 hours, and I played it on normal mode. I also felt like the difficulty for normal mode was maybe just a tad too much on the hard side. Only because, and it's not. I'm not trying to be like a little baby with it, right? Like I understand like games have to have like a certain difficulty, but there were certain attacks that were like happening to Samus and like literally would take an entire like energy tank.
Yeah, I mean that was one of my big gripes too. It's like,
and I was like, what the fuck?
Any boss like damage would do at least one tank, if not two. And it's like, okay, I'm glad I collected all these energy tanks for nothing. Because some of them, like especially by the time you get to the final boss, like you get that rhythm down to beat him so much, that you're not even taking damage. Like it's...
Oh yeah, I think after I had like lost to the last boss like a few times, like the first two phases, I lost no health.
Yeah,
I was like, I'm fucking God. But yeah, like that's my only thing. Like I feel like because that to me, like I'm gonna go play this. If I were to play this game in hard mode, like what the fuck are those attacks doing?
Yeah, it's just probably instant death.
Yeah, just like don't get touched. The floor is lava. You will die immediately. But yeah, so I thought the game took Samus's story into a very interesting direction. I would have preferred a different ending. But am I displeased with the one that I have? No, I mean it's fine. I don't think that there should be any more Metroid games that expand upon after this. Like if they make anything else, it should just be like either remakes of the other games that they haven't touched yet, or maybe other games exploring other things prior to the ending of this story. Because honestly, I don't see how you could continue it.
Really?
So, yeah.
Wow.
That's this me.
Definitive.
To me, I don't see how you could continue it unless they're like, hey, let's do this thing out of nowhere. Oh my god, here we go. And then it's like, okay.
There is
one a mage from
Oh, you can say what you're going to say, Dave.
I was going to say, maybe they'll take a page from the Marvel multiverses and just be like, well, here's another universe where Samus didn't do what you did.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I mean, they do, well, two things, I'll say. Hey, there is one line in the ending, and we can talk about this after the podcast, too. But I think that really hints at if they did want to do something set in the future, how they would handle it.
Yeah.
The other thing is too, like, there's the whole like Prime storyline, which is like, so if you play at Metroid Prime Federation Force, you know that. So like, there's what is it? Silex is like hunting you or something.
Yeah,
and all that like storyline. So who knows where that's gonna go? You have the Metroid Prime hunters like things going on. Like there is a bigger universe that they obviously could delve into if they chose to.
Yeah.
So who knows? Who knows what they're doing with it?
There's one thing that I think they could take the series into a direction of. I can't say it on here because it's major spoilers for the game. However, it would definitely take the series in general, into a very different and much darker direction, I feel. So,
interesting.
But definitely, like I enjoyed my time with it. I would love to play it again and just like maybe do like 100% run, because like now that like I know where a lot of the things are and I know like the Emmys and shit like that, like I'd rather like do more exploring. But yeah, really fun game. I loved it.
I will say too, one other thought on Metroid Dread. I guess the people got bent out of shape because this game cemented Other M as canon.
Oh yeah,
really? Wow.
Yeah, there was some Twitter discourse about Other M being, and I was really confused because I didn't think there was ever a point where people didn't think it was canon.
Yeah, no, I didn't think so either. But apparently, people just want to believe things, and so they tried really hard to believe it. So that's probably why. And I'll tell you, like they didn't even do like a story thing. Like one of the unlockables is like some art from Metroid Other M. So that's all it is. They're just like, here you go. We're just gonna show it right to you, just to make sure you know it's here, and it's part of this timeline. So
yeah,
I've never played Other M. I gotta give that a shot.
Yeah,
should I play Other M?
You just watch a YouTube video.
It's okay. That's where I'll put it. It's okay. If you don't play it, you're not missing anything. Story wise, there's only one like, and you wouldn't even know it unless you like really tried to like delve deep into like the deep lore of Metroid that connects into Fusion. But like honestly, if you didn't see it, you're not gonna miss anything, and you're fine story wise without it.
Okay, great, good to know.
I enjoy it, but like I said, it's the most enthusiasm I can give you is it's okay. Like,
yeah. Is it like a collector's item now because it was like so poorly sold so poorly, or is it?
I don't think so. I think it was one of those like when I worked at GameStop back in the day. It was like one of the Wii games that we sold for like $1.99.
Yeah. Wow. Jeez. Okay.
So maybe it's like $10 now.
I think what is actually a collector's item is the Metroid Prime on Wii trilogy.
Yeah.
Because it had the new play controls for the first and second Metroid Prime. So I believe that's a collector's item.
Yeah, no, that one's definitely a big deal.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. So, but anyways, speaking of other like collector's things, we can talk about NSO, the N64 stuff, because I got a chance to play. I played a few of them.
Yeah.
Today. I don't know. Nick, did you end up trying it at all or no?
No. So my friend sent me the invitation for the family plan, but I was literally balls deep in Metroid Dread, so I was like, I'll worry about this later on.
I heard the Legend of Zelda isn't very good on it, or it isn't. People complaining about that.
There's lots of issues with this. So, I mean, where do I start? So, like, there's some graphical differences with the N64 stuff. I'm gonna play Ocarina of Time, but I ordered one of the controllers, so I'm waiting for that to come before I start that, is what I've decided. It should be here this week. I got shipping confirmation like as soon as the update went live yesterday.
Nice.
Like at like 8:00 at night. So they must have been just like sitting on it waiting. I was like, oh, okay, whatever. So yeah, there's some graphical issues with that. Like Mario 64 compared to the 3D All-Stars one, it's a bit stuttery. Like you can notice the frame rate differences.
Well, like I was gonna say real quick, something interesting about that is it's two different ROMs.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah, they're using I think the Japanese Rumble. No,
they're using the original one for the NSO. And they're using the Shindao for 3D
Japan.
Yeah, 3D All-Stars.
Yeah, and they use that one for 3D All-Stars too. Yeah, which is weird because the Japanese one, I think they have that one as well, which is weird. Like the Legend of Zelda one, from what I was reading, it's like it's a version of the game. It's like the 2.1 version with patches applied to it, which is weird. So you got some weird stuff like that. You also have weird stuff like there's no like virtual memory cards. So games that use the memory cards like WinBack for saving your progress, you can't. You have to use save states, which is a workaround, but it's also problematic as well. So like if you save state yourself at a bad spot, you're kind of SOL. Like you don't have anything to fall back on. Mario Kart, there's no way for you to save ghost data at all. That's completely like just not there. And then my other issue with it, which I do actually think this is a bigger issue than it's going to sound like when I say it, is there's no way to change the button layout when you're playing it. And so they set up the Switch as best as they could to an N64 controller, which doesn't sound bad at first until you realize that they had to set the Z button and the L button to different buttons, even though you could never use them practically at the same time. Maybe like one game or two had you holding it like with your right hand in the middle, but not that I can ever have played. So like when I was playing Star Fox 64, to do barrel roll, it is the LZ like trigger button on the left side, but then on the right side, it's the R button because the RZ button doesn't do anything. So you're using like two different fingers, or your fingers are in two different places for that. Or like with the Landmaster to fly, you have to like hold it different ways. The A and the B button are reversed on the N64. Like the A button is the lower button compared to the B button. So in Mario, like I was like, why am I punching everything when I turned it on? It's because mentally I'm used to the buttons being switched, and that was not the case in this version of the game. And there's no way for you to switch these things. So it's just very odd the way that they ended up putting the whole controller things together. I don't really understand it. So yeah, that's just my basic gripes with the N64 stuff so far. I don't really have anything great to say. They are passable versions of these games, but they are not like I feel like the Wii U or Wii versions were better in a bunch of different ways. So yay! N64, you can play it now.
Is it worth the price?
Not yet. Definitely not yet. I mean, so it could be. We were talking about it. Like, if Nintendo adds more stuff to this service, like there's no reason that they shouldn't. So it should be a better value, but for some reason they chose not to, and that's what I don't understand. Like they chose to launch with like 9 N64 games, but like, why not have a library out there for people to play right away? Like nobody wants things drip fed to them. Interestingly, in the so they have done some like hacking into the app, and they found out that there is at least 37 titles seemingly planned for it.
Mm-hmm.
So
that's cool.
Yeah.
So they found that. I think it was like 37 for that, 57 for Sega for the Genesis, and the way that they're numbered indicates that there's another system in development as well. So it's like, so like SNES is labeled as 1, SNES is labeled as 2, N64 is labeled as 3. There's no 4, and then Genesis is labeled as 5. So
maybe they're doing that old prank where like you release 4 pigs into a school and label them 1, 2, 3, and 5.
Yeah, is it like 4 like a? Is it 4 like a death number in Japan too? Like maybe that's
what they skipped it. Let me Google that real quick. Is 4
I believe it's unlucky. I don't know beyond that.
Is 4 an unlucky number? So
I think
4 is considered unlucky because it sounds a lot like the word for death. As a result, Chinese buildings often lack a 4th floor, just as American buildings sometimes skip a 13th.
Yeah, so maybe that's why they skipped the 4. They're like,
maybe, yeah,
they have a 4th system.
They're like 1, 2, 3, 5. Yeah, 5.
Would they really do that for something that the public isn't even supposed to see? You know. Like, we don't use 4s at all in our coding.
Honestly, how many times have you gone to a building and noticed that the 13th floor was missing?
Never.
Yeah.
I've seen that like once, I think.
I've seen it, but like unless I'm like unless I remember it at that exact second, I'm just like, what floor do I need to go to? All right, this is on floor 12, whatever. Sure, let's go.
Yeah, so I mean who knows? Maybe the 4th system was GameCube and they were like, "Oh no, get that the fuck out of there. That's unlucky. We're not doing that." So
the system is Virtual Boy.
I mean, I'd take it.
Oh, yeah.
Definitely give you some Labo support too.
Love that.
Yeah. So
they need to bring the portables to the Nintendo Switch Online. That is like that system is begging for that. I'm surprised they didn't do it yet.
Well, like the hot before N64 and Genesis were like even rumored, like people are all the insiders were squawking. They're like, Game Boy's coming, Game Boy is coming. Well, Game Boy's not here, but N64 is here. So I feel like there's where there's smoke, there's fire. Like I feel like that's a legitimate thing. Like it makes sense that it would be there.
Yeah.
So who knows? Maybe they're holding it back for something like Pokemon.
I would like to see them add GBA and like Game Gear at the same time. That'd be really cool.
Yeah, that'd be pretty rad too. Hopefully when they do Game Boy, it's like Game Boy Color, Game Boy Advance. Like I'd like to see them, but no, Nintendo, they'll sequence them out as like different systems. So I don't know, but yeah. So my verdict on NSO right now is it's not great yet, and hopefully they get there. Although if you got we talked about it last week. I mean, if you want the Animal Crossing stuff next week, like that might be a good reason to push you over the edge, but no reason you need it today. I can tell you that. So, yeah, disappointing.
Hopefully the system will improve.
Yeah. Like I said, they have tons of content. Like, there's no reason it should be so lackluster. Like, Nintendo alone could justify that $50 price tag. Like I was saying last week, like, if they were going to throw, like, GoldenEye or Mother 3 on there, like, I'm sure people would be singing a different tune already, just with either of those titles. But, I don't know. Like, it just doesn't seem like they have a lot of incentive to at the moment. So we'll see what happens. We will see.
Yeah. I'm not hopeful.
At the moment, neither am I. But we'll see. Did you guys have any other, like, what we've been playing stuff to talk about?
No, I got none.
Okay. The last thing we have is just a little bit of news.
Yeah.
Which will be outdated by the time you hear it.
Yeah.
What?
Outdated news.
That's fine.
State of Play's coming. It will be 2 days ago by the time you hear this. So you already know what it is.
I did see a rumor, and I don't know what started it, because some random... I went on Twitter, as one does, and I saw Sly Cooper was trending, and I was like, oh. And like there was like some random Twitter account with like less than 400 followers saying like there is a new Sly Cooper in development very early. It will be coming in 2022. Probably will be shown off tomorrow. And I was like, that's cute, but like, where, like, do you have any sort of proof? And they're like, nope. I was like, all right, cool. But I would love to see a new Sly Cooper. But I think they said tomorrow's State of Play. Let me see here real quick. I think it's mostly third party tomorrow because anything first party they've delayed so far. Let's see. Following they're going. Come on now. What's it gonna be about? What's it gonna be about? I can't find it fast enough.
Forspoken?
PlayStation blog didn't give any specifics outside the fact that it will include new looks at previously announced games, plus a few reveals from our partners around the world.
Okay.
So that's what you get for 20 minutes.
I'm seeing Square Enix might be a big part of it.
I mean, maybe. There's, that Forspoken game. They have been very mum on FF16. Isn't Triangle Strategy coming out soon, too? Or I don't know if that's just for the Switch, though.
I think that's only announced for Switch at the moment. And that's March.
Yeah. So, who knows? I mean, I don't know. There's really not much I feel like you can talk about in 20 minutes. So. I
mean, that's what we thought about Animal Crossing. And they just blew our minds.
Well, that's the thing. Is 20 minutes of Animal Crossing or 20 minutes of a bunch of different games. Like, if a Nintendo Direct came out tomorrow, like, it's going to be 20 minutes, and it'll be like a hodgepodge of things. I'll be like, okay, I'm not too excited. But yeah, 20 minutes dedicated to Animal Crossing, I'm here for it.
Yeah.
Animal Crossing for the PlayStation. You heard it here first.
Yeah, I mean, I'll be fine with that.
We made an Anka spinoff for
shit.
PlayStation.
It's a rhythm game.
That'd be the only game with the special attachment.
Yeah.
I'm not necessarily. I mean, there's nothing PlayStation related that I'm like necessarily pining for. I mean, that the only thing I would want or look at would be probably off the wall stuff like Last of Us 3 or something like that. But obviously, we're not going to get something like that announced at this. We're still waiting for Horizon Forbidden West and God of War, the new one. So
those have all been delayed until 2022, probably and beyond.
Maybe GTA 6, huh? Wouldn't that be nice?
I mean, we're still playing with GTA 5.
I know, right? The GTA trilogy is coming out soon.
Yeah. November 11th.
Yeah.
And the physical, I think, is December 7th.
Yep.
You guys are going to pick that up? Looks like some nice enhancements, some quality of life stuff.
I'm not interested in it, honestly. I think San Andreas is coming to Game Pass. So
okay, there you go.
The trilogy is probably something I'll pick up on like a sale at some point.
Right.
Like I definitely it's a game I'd have fun mucking around with, but there's just enough stuff out right now or coming out soon that I'm just like I don't really have time at the moment. So it's just there is a lot of stuff coming out the rest of this year. It's pretty busy.
Is it too early to think about Game of the Year watch?
I mean, we've already been kind of like tossing around some ideas. So there's always things. Like Metroid Dread, I think we kind of tossed out as like a contender last week.
Cool.
So Even though Brandon hasn't finished it, he says he's at the end. So he says. Yeah. I don't know. I don't believe. Last thing he said about it was he was 2 rooms away from the end. And I really just don't believe it, because 2 rooms away from the end, if he played it for 15 minutes today, he would have been at the final boss.
Yeah, so... he would have been. I did not go to sleep last night until I finished the final boss. I was like, you are not going to let me go to bed with this.
You will not beat me, game. Yeah. I won't beat you.
It's funny, too. I think after, like, the last time, like, I turned to my girlfriend, I was like, hey, this is going to be the last time I'm going to try this, and I'm going to go to bed. And then I fucking did it. And it was bad, too, because, like, the first 2 phases of it, I was shaky as fuck. Like, it was, like, not going well. I was like, this ain't gonna be it. And then, like, 3 and 4 came through, and I was like, let's fucking get it. And I won. I was like, yeah!
Let's do this.
Yeah, so there's that. And then, what was the last thing I was gonna say? Oh, there was one more little bit of piece of news. Honestly, like, it's kind of gotten brushed under the rug, but I'm not really surprised either. But Advance Wars got delayed to next year. Sad. Yeah. Yeah, which is surprising. I mean, I was excited for it, but part of me is like, I don't really know why it would need much of a delay, because it's just like a polish-up remake. So it's, you know, how much do they have to, like, polish up there? But it wasn't at the last Direct, so I'm just kind of like, they probably knew.
Yeah.
It's just them catching up to it. So,
yeah.
That's all I got.
Well, I mean, according to, like, best games so far rated, I mean, I know... IGN gave Deathloop a 10, so that probably puts it on the short list for Game of the Year. But beyond that, I mean, I don't know, maybe Far Cry 6, potentially. What is it?
Probably I know Brandon really enjoyed Deathloop. I'm trying to think what else, if there's anything else that I really like enjoyed. No More Heroes 3 was fun. I might throw it in there for some different categories. But I don't think it would take my Game of the Year.
Is Halo Infinite coming out this year?
Yes, very end of the year, though, like December.
Okay, so that'll probably be a contender.
Sony had Ratchet & Clank. I know people were up on that.
They did have Ratchet & Clank this year. That's right. I forgot that was this. It was very early.
That's what always had. Anything before June just gets totally, like, forgotten about by the time Game of the Year rolls around.
Maybe I'll finish that next, because I was, like, kind of in the space of, like, what am I going to play next? And maybe I'll move my PS5 upstairs for a little bit and get through that, so I have another game to be on my Game of the Year contenders list. I don't know. I haven't played much this year.
I've been kind of like keeping track of some of my stuff. I have at least enough to make a top 10 list.
Okay.
So that's always a good sign. Last year I remember being a bit of a scramble at the end. So being like, kind of squeezes into the category, so we'll put this there. This year I do. I mean, there was the other thing. I mean, I really did like, and I know you did. And did you? I don't know if you ended up playing it. I can't remember that expansion thing for 3D or Mario 3D World.
Oh yeah, I didn't play the expansion. I just played the game.
Yeah, like that Bowser thing. I thought was a blast.
Yeah, I feel like that would be a stretch for me to add that to, like, you know, I don't know. I feel weird when I put, like, remakes or remasters in to, like, a Game of the Year thing, because, like, I don't find it to be fair. But then again, I guess if a remake or remaster got my favorite Game of the Year, then it was probably just a pretty slow year.
Well, I'm just saying, though, like, if you, like, considering that thing as, like, a 6-hour piece, like, that's completely separate from the rest of the game, like, I mean, I think that's fair. Because it doesn't play like 3D World at all. Like, it's not...
that's true.
Yeah, like, it's definitely its own separate entity beast. So, I don't know, you should definitely try it, though, just to see what I'm talking about.
Yeah, no, I have it. I just, you know, maybe...
No, I know you do. Yeah, you just never turned on the other half of the game for some reason. Yeah.
I just looked up a website, GameRant.com, listed sort of some potentials. And besides Metroid Dread, they also mentioned Psychonauts 2, Deathloop, Monster Hunter Rise, Resident Evil Village, Returnal.
Oh, yeah.
Any of those games, you think?
I forgot about Village came out this year.
I know, right? It's crazy.
I know a lot of people did like Rise, too. I haven't played it. The amiibo look great, though. I love the amiibo.
There you go.
I have amiibo of the year. Look at that. That's another one. That's one I want to pick up on a sale. I've always had the, like, mixed I never really got into a Monster Hunter game, so I don't want to play full price for it. Like if I'm not gonna like it, so it's kind of like $30 is probably my sweet spot for it, and we'll get there. Probably like when the expansion comes out, or maybe they'll do like a. I would also consider going like all in if it was like $60 for the game and the expansion, but just maybe not for the game by itself. So
yeah, it just reminds me of all the games I still have to play.
I'm actually surprised you didn't play. I was going to ask you about Pokemon Snap because it would fit right in well with your podcast because you could grade how well you take your pictures in there, and I was like, I'm curious what you would think of like your photography skills or how they interpret your photography skills there. But I'll have to say that one for another time.
I know. Well, I'm planning to bring back my show Around the Lens on November 11th. So it will resurrect, and maybe I'll play the game before then, so we have something to talk about.
Mm-hmm.
I'm planning to make it a bit more casual than my previous show, so more like kind of like this, just kind of talking around, talking about stuff, talking about games, just talk about photography. More chill.
Exactly. Mm-hmm. Chill's good.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
We want to do. I don't know if you have time for it, but do you want to talk about watching, reading, and thinking? Is that something you want to talk about?
I mean, if you have anything you want to bring up, feel free.
I watched Squid Game, and it was awesome.
Yeah.
Did you guys watch Squid Game?
Did you finish that?
I did, actually. This past weekend I finished it.
Oh, nice. Yeah, so we all watched it.
Yeah.
I'll
spoil the hell out of it.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was something that took everybody by surprise, but that was, looking forward to season 2 for sure.
Yeah, that was my gripe with it. I was talking to Brandon about it, and just for the sake of the podcast, I'm not going to go into spoilers, but I kind of wish they handled that last episode a little bit differently, because the director's like, I'm in no hurry to make a sequel, if ever, and I was just like, why would you end it like that if you're not going to do it?
Yeah, it definitely left it very open-ended, and I'm like, if you were not planning to make a sequel, why would you like? And what's funny now is I feel like he's gonna definitely make a sequel right away because it is the most successful Netflix series to date and has made a lot of money. So, like, why would you not just immediately go right into it?
He's probably just waiting to see what fat check Netflix is going to throw at him first.
True.
I know, right? Oh, they'll give him a fat check. I mean, seriously.
Although
so much money out of that show.
It's funny too because like I was watching the show. I was like, how much is 4.5 million won? I was like, how much is this to USD? And I did a conversion. I was like, it's just shy of like $40,000. And I was like, I don't know if $40,000 would be enough for me to do all of this.
Well, it was 4 billion won.
It was 4 billion.
That was the final plot.
Yeah, so basically you cut off the 3 zeros. That's just like that's the lazy way to do the conversion.
Oh, I gotcha.
Yeah,
even I, who lived in Korea, still had to look it up online.
All right, so that's just about what, 4 mil?
Yeah, I mean, it's a little. I think it came out to 3.8.
No, the final plot is 40 million. The final plot.
No, I'm saying to United States money.
Yeah, $40 million. Yeah, for the final like 4.65 or. Whatever it was, the
it was 4.56 billion won to USD.
That's like $40 million.
Is 3.8 million. I have the conversion right in front of me. That's what I googled 4.5 billion won to USD, and it says $3,851,028. Which I mean, okay, for almost 4 million.
45.6 billion won. So
it's 45.6 billion? Oh, I was doing it wrong.
45.6.
Okay, there we go.
So a little bit more, yeah.
Yeah,
there's like not that much. It's not like an insane amount, but it is enough.
I don't know. I mean,
you can live on it, but I'm just saying.
Yeah.
Everybody's getting Squid Game costumes for Halloween. I can see it right now.
I will say the one part of the show that kind of annoyed me because like my one friends were like, "Hey, you're gonna watch episode. I think it was 6. Was the one where they played the marble game."
Yeah.
They're like, you're gonna watch this episode and you're gonna cry, and I was like, I was mad. I was like without getting to the end of the show at that point, the old man made me super fucking mad because I'm like, why would you fake having an episode in the middle of this death game just to see if this guy was really gonna be your friend or not? I was like, what the fuck? Get out of here with that shit, old man.
No, I almost teared up a little bit. It was sad. It was sad.
Yeah, but especially with the other guy.
Oh, I felt bad for him. I was like, yo, you just got fucked.
Oh,
I was like, you got super fucked. And then I felt bad for, what was that, her name? Saviot? Like that.
Yes, I liked her a lot.
Yeah. You know, I like the dynamic of those two girls. And I thought it was, like, really, like, cool. And then, yeah, all that shit happens. I was like, what the fuck?
Yeah, and then how the other character just, like, sat in the room the whole time because she was able to get picked.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I liked how she killed the other dude and was like, you know what, fuck it, we're doing this. I was like, yeah, let's get it. I was like, you were annoying, but I like this.
It was good, but they did waste a space by doing that because
they did.
2 people went down for one. So not playing the Squid Game, right, guys?
The acting for the VIPs was horrible, by the way.
Yeah.
They sounded like a crowd of rich men from like a PlayStation 2 game. And I can't decide if it was like the writing that was bad or their acting or if it's like a little bit of both.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, no, it was
both.
Well, I think it's, again, when it's a Korean show, right? So, the American actors, they get a pass because it's a Korean director, probably, it's just like if you had a Korean, maybe vice versa, you may not know the nuances there. So
true.
That'd be my only kind of thing, like maybe that's why that way it is. But I watched the whole thing dubbed, so it was fine by me. Still entertaining.
I liked it.
Yeah, great.
Yeah.
Anything else?
I'm good.
I thought I was gonna. No, I'm good.
All right, you guys ready to wrap up?
Sure.
Do it.
All right. Thank you, everyone, for listening to us tonight. Don't forget to find us on iTunes, Stitcher, Amazon, our website, game-crunch.com. I know. I finally decided to update.
Moving on up.
The other one store, you still go to doublegaming.com. That still works too.
Okay.
You got both. You got options.
Yeah.
And if you want to reach out to us on Facebook, Twitter, you can send us an email, gamecrunchcast@gmail.com. Dave, I know you just plugged the return of your podcast. What else? I know you got that going on. What do you want to tell people listening where they can find you?
If you're interested in filmmaking, photography, movie making, all that fun stuff, visual journalism in general, check out the revival of Around the Lens, which is set to premiere on November 11th of this year. So go check that out. We've got one thing I'm trying to do different is bring people in person to my house to like do the podcast, versus just everybody online, right?
Yeah.
We'll see how that goes. I am helped by the fact that I'm near a major metropolitan area, which is Washington, D.C. So go check that out. If you're into video games, which you should, which if you're listening to this show, you better darn well be, go check out Unlimited Draw Distance. I'm really going to try and make that a thing now. I don't know how successful I'll be. Like I said, I've had the website for going on probably 3 or 4 years now, or at least the YouTube channel. And, there ain't much on it, but, I always have that little hope in my heart that I can make something with video games. If nothing else, I'll make video games when at one point in my career, that'd be my kind of ultimate goal is to make the games, and then I'll come on your show and talk about it.
Yeah.
But beyond that, though, no, I got nothing else. Just happy to be on here. Such a nice break from things to take off from all the stress of the day-to-day world and talk about what I love and my hobbies and video games. And yeah, I'll definitely want to come back on again in the future.
Yeah, we're absolutely happy to have you back. It's been too long.
Indeed. Far too long.
Oh. All right. Nick.
I've got nothing in particularly interesting going on. So, nope.
All right. And we did lose Brandon he had a family emergency come up. So, but he's always streaming. What is he streaming out? Saturdays?
Saturdays, yeah. Fridays and Saturdays.
And Saturdays. Nick Kagado Asuka?
Yes, Kagado Asuka on Twitch.
Yeah. So you can check him out there. And for me, I'm Mike Anastasia. You can find me online. I'm Clash Penguin on Twitter or your favorite gaming console. And until next week, game on.
Game
on, everybody. You know, one thing I meant to talk about, and I'm sorry I didn't. This is the last episode for Halloween. We didn't talk about like Halloween costumes or dressing up like video game characters or anything like that. I'm not planning to do that, but I was just like, oh man, I thought about it, and then I completely forgot about it. But
yeah,
maybe it could be a topic for next week's show. You could talk about some cool video game related costumes that you may have seen online. I don't know. Reddit loves to highlight that stuff.
Yeah, usually we do something for Halloween. I completely forgot about it.
Time is weird right now.
I know.